bit about open data. When I read like a Mashable article like 2.5 years ago and randomly wrote a blog post on how Santa Monica should open up their data, I think at the bottom of it I said I'm probably not going to be participating in this, but I think somebody should do it. About 6 months later, I worked with Christine and we did some sort of talk, like a little event get together with some people from the city of Los Angeles talking about open data. But then we kind of just got like pointed fingers around in circles and nothing really happened. Fast forward to this summer, I connected with Gary from the city of Santa Monica and we got talking about open data and they expressed interest. So they said, we want to know if we open up our data, developers would want to build on it. And I said, let's see if we can see if there's a demand, and we kind of put this together, and we have a lot more people than we expected. So I say mission accomplished. And one of the things they asked is they'd like to hear kind of what kind of data sets we'd like to see, what kind of app ideas we might come up with, just to kind of get the ball moving. Clearly there's a few steps before you can get actually the data open itself, but I'd love for Gary, maybe you can talk a little bit about it, introduce your team so that they know who to go to talk to. That'd be awesome. Thanks.
So I had the pleasure of meeting Yohei. One of my roles, coordinate the youth tech program for Santa Monica. We teach, there we go, David. I work with David and Yohei this summer in coordinating. They served as instructors for our 6-week program to try to instill tech and business development skills to our recent high school graduates. So we started talking about open data and had one meeting, and I think Yohei had said, "Hey, would you stop by our first meetup?" Sure. And it'll be like 6-7 people, and all right, we have cameras rolling and everything. So just to let you know something about the city of Santa Monica, I know sometimes cities get the bad rap as far as their bureaucracies and things like that. Yes, we have internal controls, and that is very important, but the city of Santa Monica actually has a good reputation in different technology areas. My day job with the city is leading the 10 gigabit broadband initiative that we offer to businesses, and I already had the pleasure of talking to Patrick a little bit about that. We're aware of some of the data inconsistencies and integrity that's for the sites that are already out there existing. So the city obviously has interest in different areas, and we just want to know what data sets you're interested in. We're really here to listen. There's obviously different policy issues and concerns we need to review, but we do put already a lot of our data out there. One of the examples is our real-time parking data. I don't know if you guys have heard of ParkMe. They actually use a feed of ours. But because we haven't had an official open data initiative, I think, branded that way, it's been more, an organization approaching us and seeing how we can more effectively provide them with that data. We have an XML feed to Google as well that fits into one of their maps for our parking information. So we're already doing some things, but I think to have a formal initiative, open data initiative, we wanted to get together and just communicate with you guys. One of the other things is that we have already formalized a working group. It's an open data committee internally with the city. And I do the broadband initiative and I do different outreach, but the major players in the group, one of them is Barang Abadi. He's our web development manager. And I'll just request that he come up to talk a little bit more about it and speak to some of his staff and some things they've done. But I think we're here honestly to just listen, to get questions. It's great that in this forum, I've never met someone from City of LA's Tech and Data Initiative, and I already had the opportunity to meet Colin. So already, I think just holding this has value. If you're interested in youth tech, broadband, or specific information about open data, I can serve as one of the point people, and as well as Barang. So thanks for hosting this, Yohei and Jeff, and I look forward to the breakout sessions.
Hi everyone, Barang Abadi, Web Development Manager. Thanks Jeff and Yohei for having us. Just to add to what Gary talked about, our city, the city of Santa Monica, is all in on open data. My goal for being here tonight is threefold. One, we don't want to just release our data, put it out there, and say, oh well, based on public records requests and based on our understanding of the developer community and based on our understanding of the community, we think you want this kind of data. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. We'd like to really hear from you guys and figure out what it is that you're interested in before we go out and release it. Secondly, as Gary just mentioned, we want to be a resource for you. Jeff mentioned something about working in government was okay at first, and then it wasn't so fun. Listen,
That's
I've
every
been in
job.
government for 20 years, so I kind of know how to navigate some of the potential road bumps that some of you may not be able to navigate, right? So we want to be a resource for you. So if we can knock on the right doors, perhaps knock down some of those doors for you, we want to do that. We want to partner with you because ultimately the work that you do frees up some of my staff, some of whom are here today. We've got a developer, Kegan, we've got a GIS guy, Justin, another developer, Kevin, back there, who do great work, but we can't do everything for everybody. So we can open up our data, partner with you guys, and the community begins to own some of this data and build some of these apps or these websites. Hey, we're all in. Lastly, and this one's a big one, me and the team, we want to hear your expectations. So if we put the data out there, but it's only accessible 80% of the time, is that acceptable? Or maybe it's refreshed every 12 months, maybe it's refreshed every 24 months. Does that work with your business model? I don't know. I don't know what the expectations are. I've heard from several of you that you want the data, but we haven't really discussed the specifics. We haven't discussed the integrity of that data. We haven't discussed the validity of that data. So, I'd like to get into the weeds with you guys a little bit and figure out exactly what it is that you would expect us to provide for you so that, I mentioned I've worked in government for 20 years, but I'm an Agile guy through and through. And for those of you who work in Agile, you know that the most important thing is adding value. We want to add value. We don't want to just check the box and say, yeah, we have put open data. We actually want to have something beneficial come out of it, not only for you guys, but for our community who we serve. Proudly.
Is it possible to have open data that gets modified or normalized by the community? Is that something that you can accept back in, or are there too many restrictions on that?
Those would be one of those doors that we would have to knock. And
like we're
perhaps
talking about, validity and accuracy of data. If we get an initial source, and we crowdsource it or something, and give feedback, and then set up a mechanism that you guys can vet it and release it back.
We were discussing just that today, actually. Yeah, so it's definitely on the radar.
Blake, we just asked, so your ETL function is currently in-house?
We currently don't have an ETL function.
Okay.
The closest thing, we've got a few things that we release. We release a bunch of GIS data. Justin Mank in the striped shirt can talk to it. But I'll be very frank, it's old school. It's shapefiles. And, I would imagine in a room full of developers, you're looking for APIs. So we've got that. And then we've got some data from our Big Blue Bus and some data from our on-street and our parking lots that we provide as, and they're standalone, they're siloed. So there is currently no ETL process in place. There is no, automated mechanism, but that's something that we are, as of about 2-3 weeks ago, starting to actively look into. Yeah.
Is there any kind of queue of community requests, because I'm actually a Santa Monica resident, but I don't know, are there people in the community who are coming to you or coming to Santa Monica, City Hall saying, we want, as a community member, not a technologist, but we want you to tell us more. I really like that you guys send out alerts on traffic, closures. I mean, that's a great thing to have. And I was talking stuff about emergency preparedness, getting a shared database of phone numbers that we can tell people. But is there anything else that I think one of the reasons why I came here is to know what you guys know about what you can't do. What are you being asked to do that you can't do?
I think it's, we're here to, serve our community. So if it has value and it's something that we can do, we work through it. I wouldn't assume any obstacles. That's kind of why we're here. There's some if there's data that you might not want to know about yourself being posted, then obviously we would have those same concerns. But other than that, a lot of it's, you can always send out the request and it'll get screened as far as, what's legal, what we can provide and things. What we're looking at, obviously, first taking your request here and your data sets, and maybe if there's I don't know if everyone can agree on some that are of interest to a large number of folks. Those are the ones that we would try to see what we can work with in our initial stages. We are very much in the preliminary stage, as Jeff and Yohei can attest. But I think Brian said it. I mean, when we do something, we do it right. We look at what's being done, but we try to even surpass that with our broadband initiative, with our e-tech, with our web stuff that we're doing. A lot of our public safety stuff is top notch. So committing to this, we want to do it right. And we've already talked to some folks in San Francisco and Chicago. Vicki is actually she's one of our interns with the city. She wants to sit down really quick. She's the person that's really leading a lot of the efforts and coordination, gathering a lot of data. She's an intern here with the city, and I don't know, Vicki, do you want to say anything?
I started 2 weeks ago. So I work part-time, but that's all I do is just researching initiatives in other cities, setting up meetings with companies that want to offer like Socrata solutions for us, and kind of comparing them. And then right now, the big thing I'm doing is kind of come up with a criteria list for like what would for us, like before it goes out to the public, what kind of condition it needs to be in for data sets, that sort of thing, and any sort of kind of a checklist we have to go through to make sure it's gone through the attorney's office, all the policy stuff is there, the licensing is in place. So just kind of the ins and outs of actually releasing data and researching what it takes to do that.
To circle back to your original question about having feedback, unfortunately, the only time we hear from the member of the public is when we screwed up, whether unhappy. Which is, hey, look, it's data. It's all data, right? So we know about our screw ups, believe me. Hopefully we don't hear about the pop tracker. Don't do that. And sometimes we get kudos, which is awesome. We have a program called We Do the Right Thing Right, where you can submit some kudos about staff members. It's typically bus drivers, actually, who get those recognition. And then we look at analytics. We have Google Analytics on all of our sites, which gives us some information. But beyond that, we are kind of grasping in the door. We're kind of making some assumptions. And lastly, we get quite a few public records requests. So, sometimes, Justin probably asked this better, but I don't know if it's residents that ask for the data as often as it is businesses. So a business is trying to do something, and they'll come in and ask us for data. We'll make them sign an NDA, and then
Is a quick question about how you guys do the data. Are you guys doing it with some sort of open source license, or are you guys using something like a Creative Commons license so that whoever edited Thank you. Whoever edits it will have to then propagate it back out as the same license that you guys had, so that it's still open and not being used for straight commercial purpose.
Yeah, like I mentioned, all of our open data currently is the GIS shapelayers, or shape files, which are in zip documents, which has a licensing agreement attached to it. Don't ask me what that licensing agreement says, because it's like, and I'm not an attorney. If you're interested, you can always go to our website, smgov.net/GIS, download a zip file, open it up, and see what that licensing agreement says.
Okay.
But again, just today, we're talking about the need to do something different. I don't know if that different is we just ditch that licensing agreement and adopt, Creative Commons or something, or we work with our attorneys to draft some new language that is beneficial to protects the city and is beneficial to you.
It might be interesting if you guys actually create a specific license that is about government open data, so that even though it's being used by, say, a commercial person, that they make something out of it and provide that information as well.
Yeah, Vicky's actually doing some research into that and we are defining our initiative now, so this is why it's great to hear from you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. All right. Thanks for having us,
So I really like the quality, not quantity approach. Instead of just opening up data and letting us do, it sounds like you really want to work with us to make sure we do it right and get the first few projects up like well. So I'm getting the sense that probably the data that we open up will be based on projects we're actually working on already. That being said, I still think the breakout groups and talking about coming up with data sets and app ideas will serve two purposes. One, people who aren't familiar with open data. If you're in a group with someone who is, you'll get a chance to hear like what it's about. And two, I get to force you guys to interact with people you might not otherwise interact with. So let's just take a few minutes, just like kind of in your area, just get together and come up with at least one data set that you'd like to see and at least one app idea that you might build on top of it. If you have more, that's great. I'm going to go ahead and time it, 10 minutes, and then we'll have one person from each group announce it, and then you guys can talk about anything you want with anybody you want. So just kind of around.
Was the person from